Hello, welcome to the Three Orcs Go Live session, our weekly live that we do every Sunday at 7 p.m. MST time, where we go ahead and I talk about what I did all week for the project of the Temple of Elemental Evil for the Verbobonc Campaign Guide 576 Common Year, which is a website that I create for public use for anybody to use at the table while they're running the Temple of Elemental Evil open sandbox campaign. That way you can have this website open and have all these towns and all these NPCs and organizations available to you to use while you're running the game. Also, I put together modules that I saw on DM's Guild of the important towns for the campaign. And I just want to announce right now that this week I launched the Village of Nulb campaign source book, and it's available on DM's Guild as of today. In fact, some of our vital Three Orcs Discord members pointed out an error. One of the names I got wrong in the description of that location. It was the Carpenter Shop, and I made that change. And I also decided to add 3 random encounter charts, one for each tavern, the Waterside and for the Boatman's Tavern, and also an encounter chart for the streets of Nulb at night. So that way the Dungeon Master, when running Nulb in the Temple of Elemental Evil campaign, can roll these random encounter charts to find out who's around and what's going on. If he wants to do something that's more random or give him some good ideas of what could happen in Nulb. And so I got that done. And that's released right now in the DM's Guild, and it's doing really well. It's amazing how many people are running the Temple of Elemental Evil campaign right now, or this project is encouraging them to want to run it again. Because many of the Dungeon Masters that come to the Discord channel or the Patreon, they've been running D&D for even from the beginning of the 80s. Like myself, I ran the Temple of Elemental Evil campaign for the first time for when I was in high school in the early 80s. And we had a great old time as a Monty Hall campaign, which is just a dungeon slog through the pages of the module. There wasn't anything like what we put together here as a more of an open sandbox campaign. So that's what I got done this week. And I just want to announce that I just released that module and it's available on the DM's Guild right now. And I'm pretty proud of it. It turned out really well. So right now, though, before I go into more detail of what I did all week as an update, I'm going to go ahead and bring a guest on our live stream. And I want to make sure that anybody that's in chat, if you have a question or just want to say hi, just go ahead and say that in YouTube chat. And I can put it up on screen and we can answer your questions, no problem. I'd like to hear your questions, especially about the Temple of Elemental Evil campaign and what you've been doing with it. And if you have any questions about the campaign, we can give you those answers here. So let me go ahead and bring over our guest here. There he is. Okay, so Custodis, welcome to the Three Orcs live stream again. This is, I think, your second or third time you've been with us.
Third time.
Yes, thank you for joining.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So you're one of the Dungeon Masters I mentioned that's actually running this campaign actively. Like you just had a session a couple of days ago, right?
No, just actually today.
Today.
Yeah. So as I said in my previous session, my sessions are short. I don't do the 6 to 8 hour kind of sessions that other folks do because that just doesn't work with my life and the life of the players and so on and so forth. But we try to meet regularly and do an hour and a half, and we try to cram as much fun as we can in that. So I've done I've done a bunch of World of Grey adventures with my son, and he decided, hey, could we do the Temple of Elemental Evil? And I'm like, sure. I'm not sure. But one of the problems I had with it was that the Temple of Elemental Evil is a great campaign, but it requires a lot of work to make it more than just a Monty Hall campaign. And a few years ago, I had the opportunity to do it with a bunch of friends of mine, and I kind of got bored of the Monty Hall thing, and I came up with some clever devices to make it a little bit more interesting. And I was like, I want to do something like that for my son, but I also decided to start a new job and I didn't have the time of the day. So it was kind of like flailing. And so I went on the internet looking for materials, and I found your World Anvil pages. And I was like, oh my God, I have found the mother lode of information. And then I discovered your Patreon, and I'm like, I will pay this man money because he provides me value every week.
I
And then I
appreciate that.
discovered you. What?
I appreciate that.
No, 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 absolutely. And then I discovered his Discord chat, and I was like, oh my god, how could I ever run this without him? So yeah. So one of the things about the Temple of Elemental Evil is Lareth. So one of Dave, right? I'm sorry, I know you as your login as Three Orcs, but that's not your name.
I'm David with 3 orcs. Real quick though, I want to say thank you. Hearn the Hunter just joined us, and he said, "Hi, been playing D&D since 1980. Thank you for working on this project." And then he also said, 3 to 4 hours is all my players can manage.
So so one of the problems I had with the adventure, and I didn't like, was that Lareth the Beautiful, right? Lareth the Beautiful is supposed to be the central pivotal character, and because he's this central pivotal character, hold on, he shows up and acts. It's like when you do the multi-hall campaign, it's you arrive in Lareth's thing, and he's a big bad. You kill him, and life goes on, right? And that seems so boring.
That
Like,
is. By the way, I just started recording our session so I can make another video later. And what we're talking about here is making Lareth the Beautiful in the Moat House more interesting, not just killing him off.
right. Like he's not even that interesting as a big bad at the end of the game kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what would make Lareth more interesting? And so Dave and I chatted on the Discord, and we kind of came to the conclusion that Lareth is the quintessential up and coming agent of an empire who's got his own agenda and is just enough supporters to make him dangerous to the big boss, so that Hedrak can't get rid of him. And Hedrak's trying to deal with Lareth's ambitions, and Lareth has ambitions. After all, he is a chaotic, evil cleric of Lolth. And so his plans are to basically carve out a piece of the territory of the Temple of Elemental Evil for himself. Right.
Yeah.
And
Well, Gary Gygax did quote that Lareth the Beautiful is the dark hope of chaotic evil, young, handsome, well endowed in abilities and aptitudes, thoroughly wicked, depraved, and capricious.
capricious.
Capricious. I put that on the screen, by the way.
Yeah. And so so I wanted to make him seem that way, right? I wanted him to be more interesting. And so my characters meet up with him, and Lareth has a night, and they meet up with him, and they're like, hey, we discovered, we know about you, and we got rid of some of your enemies, and we want to work for you. And Lareth is at the first, doesn't trust them, but then he never trusts them, but he realizes that he has now agents he can use to advance his plot. And what's his plot? To get rid of his competitors. And who are some competitors? Why, some Black Earth cultists in Sheernob, who have been creating chaos and are trying to seize some of the territory that Lareth believes belongs to him. And so he tells the heroes, spins them a tale that, what he wants from them is to go find a chest, which has been apparently stolen from Verbobonc. And so they run to Sheernob, and while in Sheernob, they discover that Palsmary Clee, who's the keeper of the beehives, and let me just say that best supplement ever, Sheernob by Dave, totally worth it. Great content, fantastic content, so many quests. You could go crazy there. Don't try to do them all, just pick some, but they're all over the place. Like, you have quests to save the world and quests to go hunt down some bouncing vegetables.
What I like about Sheernob is it's within 10 miles of Hamlet.
Yeah. So it's like within walking distance. Like, it's not a
1 day walk.
Not. Yeah. So it's not a, and if you go fast, it's like 3 hours, 4 hours, and if it's, it's definitely a distance that could be covered quickly. And so the party, Palsmary Clee, finally they decide to take up Palsmary Clee's mission to go deal with to go find her honey. Well, so my party's a couple of rogues and a monk. And when you're a couple of rogues and a monk, the wrong way to use them is to go and tank. Right. And so the part that is the wrong way. Yeah, rush in and stand there and fight melee. You're supposed to use your speed, your ability to dodge, your ability to disengage, to keep your opponents off balance. And so I tried to warn them about this when they decided to pull that party together. I told them, you guys, you cannot go into combat and like don't go toe to toe. And they had just come off a campaign where they had managed to make it to the 20th level in 5th edition. And at 5th edition, 20th level, you're basically Thor.
You can do that in a year, I heard, or 6 months.
Yeah, it's a very different flavor of campaign. It's more like a it's about a year's work. Well, it depends actually. I've done an adventure that took 3 years and the party didn't make it to level 4 years actually, and didn't get to 15. Other adventures you can get to 20th. This one took 3 years, so it's not. You can do it very quickly though if you're willing to invest the time.
Which system are you running now for this campaign?
5th edition. 5th edition.
Okay.
There's a lot of other editions that have their pluses and minuses, but the nice thing about 5th edition is that I'm dyslexic. My kid's dyslexic. I have ADD, and the system is so simple that it's easy to run. And there's enough content, and then there's enough automation and tools that make it a lot easier for me. So I like it. There are parts of it I don't like, but I do like it. I'm not a system. They all have their pluses and minuses. They all have their styles, and they all encourage different kinds of play.
There's a lot of ways to modify the game too.
Yeah, and they've got lots of ways to modify the game. And sometimes my players try to use cantrips in ways that I'm like, no, this is not how a cantrip works. And now I've come up with the ultimate statement: the goddess of magic forbids it. And then they insist some more. I go, the goddess of magic explains to you. Like finally I go, house rule. I go edit the list of house rules we have, hit enter, new house rule. Let's move on.
We got another house rule. Every time you play, we come up with a new house rule.
There we go. The house rule has been written. You cannot do that.
So why is it that your party came to Chernobyl to begin with?
Oh yeah. So Lareth. So they meet up with Lareth. So what happened was we did the T0 encounters, right? That was the temple intro to the temple, written by the Greyhawk Gongyard.
Greyhawk Grognard.
Right. He wrote this T0 intro to Nulb to Hamlet.
Yes.
To Temple. Right. And so they're going up the road and they encountered one of the towers that were controlled by one of the factions. Right. One of the that was controlled by the Water Temple, and they managed to kill everybody and find evidence that these guys were working for the Water Temple, or rather working for some group that claimed to be part of the Water Temple. And so when they showed up to Lareth, they had enough information to know that either Lareth was acting as if he was a member of the cult or was a member of the cult, but they didn't know what he was doing. And they had enough evidence to know there were a bunch of bandits going around pretending to be cultists or were a member of the cult. They didn't have evidence one way or the other. And so their thought process was, we're going to go figure, and they had been told by the various leaders to go figure this out. So they show up there and they're trying to, their thought process was, we're too weak. We can't beat him in a combat, but maybe we can get him to spill the beans.
Yes.
Right. And so they approach him and say, hey, look, we've met up. We found this group of bandits who are pretending to be Water Temple folks. And we got rid of them. And now we want to join your organization and want to take over that place. Can you help us? And Lareth first goes, yes, I think that's a great idea. And then says, no, I have a better idea. And he tells them that there is a artifact that was built by the city of Verbobonc as a gift to the kingdom of Selene that had been stolen, and that gift had been stolen by some bandits, and he wanted it back. Right? And that chest was from that other adventure you had mentioned. That was part of the Living Greyhawk campaign.
The chest of beauty?
Yeah, the chest of beauty.
Okay.
Right. So it was the chest of beauty. So, and so they find out that this chest of beauty is part of some long-standing attempt by the city of Verbobonc to try to improve relations with the kingdom of Selene.
Right, the gift of beauty.
Yeah, the gift of beauty. And so finding this gift is important. And so they're like, and then they also find out from Rufus that finding this gift is important for Rufus. They also happen to be working with lots of people right now. Nobody really knows where what their true alliances are. So they show up. So what they've been told is go find this chest of beauty, right? And so they arrive in, and they know that it's somewhere near Chernobyl among some bandits, because that's the last place it was found. It was seen. so they arrive there, and when they arrived in so that's why they end up in Chernobyl. And while they're there, they're looking around for, who to go find, and they learn from Palismary Clee that there's these Black Earth bandits. These bandits who stole her honey and shouted Black Earth. And so the other thing they're trying to do is find evidence for the village elders, in particular Kenter, that the cult is back.
Yes.
Right. So they need to find this evidence, right? So they're looking for evidence that the cult is back. The evil temple is back. And so this is the first time where they finally they're encountering members of bandits who are obviously cultists of elemental evil.
Okay.
Right.
You had the Gift of Beauty stolen before they got to Ostford.
Yes.
It sounds
yes.
like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the original module, it's stolen like a mile away from the Selene border, but that works too. It doesn't really matter, except that Lord Delavue, the Mounted Borderer commander in Ostford, he is one of the quest givers for that quest, but he's not the only quest giver. In fact, the Gift of Beauty is so prominent and so big. It's such a huge event that there are many quest givers for that. A lot of people, a lot of different factions, organizations want that gift back.
Yeah. And so my take,
it's fine what you do with it.
Yeah. So we had talked about that, but I needed an excuse to send them off to Chernobyl.
Okay. Right? Yeah. Originally in the module itself, though, another way to get your players to Chernobyl, just to let you guys know, is Maldrib. He's the son of the elder there. Well, they've been raided by these giants and the Blackthorn orcs, and they need help. They're being overwhelmed. They just can't handle such brutal force, and they're afraid that they're going to lose their gem and silver mines, and they're getting closer and finding these because they're jealously guarded. And so Mildrib he knows that adventurers often go to the village of Hamlet for adventure, and he's hoping to find a good group of adventurers there to beg them to come to Chernobyl to help them out. So that's how that quest starts by the module itself of Living Greyhawk.
All right. Yeah. So I totally, I remember we talked about it, but I had a problem where I didn't want them. I wanted to send them there, and so I wanted to give them a choice. And so I was like, well, yeah. So that struck me as like, okay, to send them deeper into the weeds of conspiracies and plots and factions. So they show up in Chernobyl, and they go through a bunch of early quests. They go to the Honey Tavern Inn, and they go hunt down the whatchamacallit, the keg, the missing mead, right? They go find and after they've done some of these initial quests, Palismary Clee reaches out to them and says, hey, I've lost some honey. And she tells them that the people who attacked said Black Earth. And so the group says, okay, we need to go hunt these guys down, right? Because this is it. We have found the clue. We're going to get the clue. Right. So they show up, and like a lot of adventurers in 5th edition, they kind of assume everything is balanced. I warned them that not everything would be balanced, and if you're going to charge into battle and you don't think about how it's going to work, bad things will happen.
Yeah. Well, in traditional 5th edition modules, it's all carefully curtailed and balanced for the adventurer and the players, so that way they succeed in the story arc or whatever they're doing.
Right.
But in old school D&D, the modules, not realism, but they made sure that there was no real balance. Like,
yes.
Well, the reason there's no balance is because one of the legitimate options is running away or thinking outside the box to deal with it. So if you're only first level and you come across an ogre, the ogre is a good chance the ogre will kill you, but there's ways to get around that or deal with it. Or maybe there's too many goblins in that cavern. Like there's 20 goblins that are easily going to swarm and kill all of you. But if you can think outside the box and deal with it, that was the fun of D&D right there. That was one of the reasons why D&D was fun. It's not fun if you're going to each room and there's only like 2 or 3 or 4 creatures balanced for the encounter for you to win. And so all you got to do is go through the motions. Okay, melee round 1, melee round 2. I use this feat. I use this action. I use that in the right order. So mid-maxing damage. That's a board game. That's a board game. It's not a role-playing game.
Yeah, one of the ways that I've found that you can mitigate that is by putting a large amount of attrition leading up to the encounter. Right. So what it really,
Yeah.
the way I describe it, I do marathons. I race marathons. And so one of the things about them is I describe them as a 10K by a bunch of exhausted people. Right. So the real trick is to get your players to burn through all their resources that by the time they reach the big bad, they're actually playing, without half their shit.
Yeah.
And so that,
Yeah, I saw some suggestions online on how to deal with that. How you
yeah.
make the monsters come in waves, things like that.
Or you have more encounters along the way.
Yeah.
Right. And so you create a situation of scarcity that by the time they arrive at the last encounter, and the reason that also works is because by the time they get that, once they go through it once or twice, they start realizing that, using all of your spells on the first encounter to end it quickly may or may not have been the best decision you could make.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much tactics for first edition too. It's all about resource management, which includes spells.
Yeah. So it is possible to do that, but you have to work at it. It's not as straightforward. So the thing that happens is, the thing I liked about this encounter is that it's obviously not the case that two third level rogues and a third level monk and a third level cleric are going to get themselves slaughtered.
So the encounter, what was the encounter called again? Let's look it up.
Or Earth. We bring it up as well.
I don't even remember where it's at. I'm so used to the module, and I'm not used to looking at my website.
Village of Chernob.
Where is it? It's a bunch of. Is it here?
It's the one. It's called Earth Elemental Side Quest.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'd actually have to bring up the module itself, I suppose.
Right. It's got, just to be clear, it's got 3 Black Earth Riders who are challenge rating 2. Right.
I have one version. Oh, that's the wrong one. I need to separate these in 2 different folders.
Yep.
Hey, so where's my PDFs? PDFs. Yeah, I usually create this stuff on my laptop at coffee shops. So this is my home computer. I don't always have the files on this computer.
So it's got 3 Black Earth Raiders. It's got the Stone Golem fragment.
Oh, what am I doing?
Right. And which is the CR4. And it's got a cleric who's a CR5. Right. And it's got some mud methods. Or earth methods, as you describe them. But
where
those are
my modules?
They're like CR1. And if you put them into the handy dandy tool for balancing.
Dang. I got way too many folders. How come I can't see it? I must not share it. This is my Google Drive where I share all my folders. I guess I didn't share that one. Oh, well.
All right. So let's see. Combat encounters challenge rating. Let's see.
Oh, that's frustrating.
All right. Here, this is how I will do it. Kusun. All right.
I swear I had it online too.
Kobold Fight Club.
All the locations, DM plots. How come it's not here? Is it down here? I'm so used to looking at the modules that I forget sometimes to make sure this matches my modules.
So let's see.
I wonder if they're separated. Let's look at the Honeyhaven Inn real quick. Let's see. Yeah, I did separate them. I see what I did.
All right, you did. You put it, and then
I put all the on quest in all the locations, like the Moot Hall.
All right, so it's a deadly encounter, right? So it's a very.
But I don't have it on me.
I just plugged it into my fandy dandy calculator. Oh wait, I'm missing one more. Right? Yeah. So it's a deadly encounter.
So isn't there like 2 earth elementals?
No, there's only one. There's no
Oh,
earth
one, okay.
elemental in it. There's
So
no.
did you actually include like a earth elemental priest with earth elemental
Yeah,
spells?
I incurred Dalsor of the Stone, challenge
Okay.
rating 5, the Stone Golem, challenge rating 4, the Black Earth Raiders, challenge rating 2, and the Mephits.
Yeah, so I remember last time you were on here, we did talk about this encounter and how they almost got wiped out. But
Yeah, they were. So they were in the middle. Last time they were in the middle of it, right?
Oh,
and so
you didn't finish.
Yeah, we didn't finish.
So today,
We didn't
okay,
finish. Yeah,
so they almost got wiped out. And what surprised them? That you said there was 2 thieves that they got.
Well, the problem was that instead of attack, so what happened was they walked into the encounter, and then thanks to the magic of sneak attack bonuses and so on and so forth, and surprise, they were able to kill 2 of the raiders right away. Right?
Wow.
You can do a lot of damage with 5th edition 2004 rules.
I can imagine.
And so if that's okay. I mean, that's fine. The thing though is there was enough bad guys there that with enough area of effect attacks that they were going to learn their lesson.
Yes.
And boy, did they ever.
That's great.
So
well, I'm glad I was able to get a 5th edition campaign a run for their money. I'm glad that my encounter was able to do that.
Oh yeah, no, they were like freaked out. Like it was like everybody died except for one of them. Like they you know, the God bless, you know, they one of their characters died horribly. So 3 of their characters one of their characters managed to, again, because of speed factors, they were able to drag their dead comrades out and raise them. But one of their dead comrades was trapped, his body was captured by Thalsor. Now, Thalsor had a plan, right? Now, he was down to the Stone Golem, one of his Black Raiders, and himself, right?
Yeah.
And he wanted these guys to come get them. So he screamed out that if you don't come here and surrender and, you know, blah, 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 I'm going to mutilate this body and you'll never be able to raise this priest, right? Raise dead requires the body to not be mutilated according to 5th edition rules as written.
Okay.
Otherwise you have to resort to resurrection spells, which are 50,000 gold pieces.
Yeah, a long rest will heal anything.
Yes, but it will not heal death.
Oh.
Right.
So that's good that somebody died. I like that.
Yeah, no. So, you know, granted it was the NPC, but, you know, whatever. It was the NPC, but, you know, it was a choice. They had to choose who was going to die.
Okay.
Right? It wasn't like they had to choose. The one guy who was alive had to choose. Did he take a 50-50 chance that that the other player's character died on the last death save, or does he try to save the cleric?
So did you have the gift of beauty there? They had it?
I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, don't. They handed it off already. In fact, didn't we discuss that before?
Yeah, that's my
hit them.
Yeah, so the thing is, it's already near wherever it really is. Near Ostwick, isn't that where it's supposed to be?
No, well, the campaign, it's 2 weeks later when the players finally get down there. So 2 weeks ago, the Earth Temple raided the Gift of Beauty with the helps of any kind of humanoid group that you want. I chose the Knolls because the Knoll King and the Knoll Fort is right like 5 miles away in the Lower Mill Mountains. So Lareth has a relationship with those gnolls. That's why Lareth has gnolls in his dungeon in the Moat House.
Right.
He got them from somewhere. He got them from that king. He went to that king and they made a deal. They're collaborating to help raid the Viscounty. And so Lareth is really good, close connection with the king of the gnolls. So, and also he, to make him look good in the Greater Temple, he also got the gnolls to contribute guards for also the hunting cabin and also in the Greater Temple. So all the gnolls in the Greater Temple, in the hunting cabin, and the station there outside of the Moat House is all his gnolls that he's responsible for recruiting them. So anyway,
where should I put the chest?
So, well, wait a minute. So that means what I did is Lareth. Well, the Earth Temple with the gnolls got the chest, and then like 2 weeks ago. So players take a while to get down there and, you know, to get the quest and all that. So the quest went north up along the border of the Lort Mill Mountains, along the foothills of the Lort Mills going north, and they ended up at the Earth Temple Outpost. Earth Temple Outpost. I'll bring up the map here for you. Let's show maps while we're talking. Okay.
All right. So they find a note that it's not here.
Okay, so you see my cursor. That's where the Gift of Beauty in the main campaign is hit. You don't have to hit it there, but that's where the Living Greyhawk module says that. So they came up along the Lort Mill Mountains, and let me get the DM section open. This is the DM layer. So this place right here is Jagged Fang Knoll Fort on screen here. It's right there at the base of the Lort Mills. And the Knolls and the Earth Temple went up past this fort, past Gallows Corner, past Sheer Knob, and they ended up here. Sorry. Stupid thing. They ended up at the Sacred Stone Monastery. It's an abandoned stone monastery in the Cron Hills, and they took it over. It's like almost like ruins, and they're using it much like that, much like Lareth is doing with the Mo House. The Romag of the Earth Temple has his raiders there, and they got wind. They're raiding up and down the Long Road, and so they saw the delegation from Rayo and Valuna and Viscounty of the Gift of Beauty go by them south down that long road towards Selene. So they followed them, and then waited to the right opportune moment to hit them, take that Gift of Beauty and some prisoners, by the way. One of those prisoners is in the other module, Noble Ambitions. And so they took the Gift of Beauty up to the Sacred Stone Monastery. So the thing about the Gift of Beauty is the chest itself is very powerful. It's in the hands of evil, they can sacrifice it into the nodes or the altar, and it's a huge, it's a divine symbol of power. It means it's more than just a magic item of pluses and minuses in D&D terms. It's more along the divine level, because they put their heart and souls and divine energy into these gifts in the chest from Rayo. And anyway, so Romag is going to use it. Obviously, he took it, so he's really happy about that. He gets it to the monastery, and ultimately, he would like to get it to the Nulb, where the Temple of Elemental Evil is, or right, so he could use it there as it's another Earth Elemental temple in there too. In that monastery, there is another temple in there with an altar. So it's a matter of whether he's going to use it there to sacrifice. But you'd probably rather use it in one of the nodes. But in your campaign, what I suggested is Lareth heard about this. So Lareth hit them or raided that monastery, took the Gift of Beauty. Now Lareth has it.
Oh, Lareth already has it.
There you go.
I'm also thinking that they actually will go find it. Lareth's plan is to have them go raid it. And if they get it, great. And if they don't get it, they're weaker, so that they can come back later, and he can come back and attack it later.
Well, if your players are working for Lareth, Lareth might ask them to help him do this.
That's they are working for Lareth.
There you go.
Or rather, they're not working for Lareth, but Lareth needs somebody to get rid of the Earth Temple that he has plausible deniability about.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a problem.
So he doesn't want to engage in open combat. So having a group of heroes, having a group of adventurers.
Well, there's a problem. Depends on who your players are. So Hearn, the hunter on YouTube here, he said, my paladin always does last rites on the big bads to make sure they stay dead. None of this recurring dueling business. But what I wanted to point out is he has a paladin. So if your group has anybody like that in their group, it's going to be really hard to do this subterfuge trickery of Lareth.
We do not have anybody like that. Yeah. No, this is part of the thing that we set up for this campaign. I said if they wanted to do 3 rogues, like 2 rogues and a monk, they had to do subterfuge.
Okay.
And to be fair, in the previous campaign we were in, that's what they like to do. They don't like to go charge into combat and blow things up. They find that boring. They like to invent tricks, traps, techniques, skills, ways. Like they like to see how to break the game, so to speak. Like what can I get away with? What can I invent? What?
Well, honestly, that's the kind of group that will succeed in Null, because if you get a group full of paladins and clerics and rangers, and they go in like big old heroes, if you see the module, there's level 10 characters there, level 13 characters.
Yeah, they're dead.
And not just them. It's not just one guy in a dungeon ready to fight you. It's not him and just a couple of guards. It's a whole organization of brigands and bandits and pirates and guards and so much going on in Nob that they could actually leverage their collaboration with each other too to take you down.
Yes.
It'd be horrible. It would be a total slaughter if the players walked into town with a bunch of bandit prisoners. So with Larth on his head on a stick.
Yeah, no, I've already.
Who's the boss here?
Yeah, no. So I made it clear that this has got. So what happened was, so they managed to escape, right? And so they're saying we're going to leave. I go, well, I tell them, look, Falsor now knows who you are. Right? Do you really want him telling his bosses? And they're like, shit, we need to go back and kill this guy.
Did you ask me the question? How to? We talked about that concept of players being protected from the big bad guys.
Yeah.
And what was the word?
Invisibility. Nobody
knows. What was the word to protect your players against the big bad guys? There was a word for that. I always forget that word. I had a contest last month about it. I told you about it.
Yeah, no. What we talked about was you don't want the cult to know you exist.
Yeah, if Sauron of Lord of the Rings doesn't know you exist, he can't come and kill you. See what I mean?
Yeah. So I by the way, I took advantage of that. So they're about to leave, and I go, "You have a problem now," and they go, "They're 15-year-old kids," and so I tell them, "Look, Thalsor has bosses. Do you really want him to reveal who just blew up his operation?"
Yeah.
Right.
And so we're not just being jerks about it. In the T1 module, the Village of Hamlet, it does state specifically that if you kill Larth and you go back to town and start bragging about it and buying everybody drinks and walking his head on a stick around the table, look at him, and start making fun of his face. Anyway, word's going to get back to Nob, and they're going to send a 10th level assassin to kill you. That's right. And directly quoted from the module.
And if you actually look at assassination tables in first edition, that was like a 97% chance of assassination. I mean, I don't know. I think I have my player's handbook here. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm actually curious. Hold on. Player's handbook, first edition rules. You can tell this was a heavily used book.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
This is the.
I'm one of those guys who's been DMing from the first time I ran this campaign, I was 14 years old.
This is a map book, by the way. I don't use it though. It's a battle map book. I thought it'd be cool, but I don't like using miniatures too much in combat. Just for positioning, not so people don't get confused where they're at.
No, they don't say that.
Basically, when it's your turn, you have to describe your action before you roll your dice, before you move your miniature. You can describe everything you're doing, and then I describe, react, and then after the fact, we move the miniature.
Yeah. So assassins have a 50% chance of immediately killing the victim.
Yeah. Well, I play Castles of Crusade, so they don't really have that rule.
Yeah.
But they still have that class, though.
Yeah. So plus they have all these crazy ass poisons with a kill or die.
Yeah, it's the poison that's going to kill you.
Right. But like, if you have surprise and you are an assassin in first edition, you have a 50%. And there's like a table in the DM's guide. Let me see. I think I have it here. Yes, my DM's guide. This is also a heavily used book from my childhood.
Well, Hearn the Hunter said.
I open it and it opens right to the combat tables.
That's awesome. Hearn the Hunter said, "This is why the campaign I am running, the recruiter told them to be quiet about their investigation into the bandits around Hamlet.
Right.
And only communicate with the innkeeper at the Welcome Wents."
Just to be clear, according to the level of the intended victims, a third level target from a 10th level assassin, the assassin has a 95% chance of killing them.
Yeah. Well,
so according to the rule,
you can't really mitigate that in that version of the game. You really can't.
No.
I had this rule of the 3 tells, So as a dungeon master, I try to give them up to 3 warnings, 3 clues of what's going to happen before I gank them. Like what they smell, what they hear, what they see on the floor, telltale signs, to give them some kind of clue idea to help mitigate instant death.
Yeah.
I try to do that.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, if you want to know, the reason I'm saying that is like saying a 10th level assassin, if you don't actually know the tables, doesn't really convey exactly the outcome.
Well, for that to work, it has to be the right condition. It has to be the right condition. So what I do is when I first start the game with the players, I make a big deal about it. When they go to their rooms at the inn, I ask them specifically, what do you do with all your gear? What do you do with your armor? What do you do with all your weapons? What do you do with the door? What do you do with the window? You know, I make sure I ask these questions because it's important. And a lot of players, you know, especially 5th edition players, they don't understand why I'm even asking this. They go, what do you mean? We're in town. We're at the inn. We're going to go to the dungeon next. And I have to be patient with them and, you know, try to teach them that D&D doesn't only begin when you're in the dungeon. It's also when you're playing all the time. You're role-playing outside the dungeon, in combat, outside of combat. And so the reason I'm also getting them ready for this, because I will mess with them. I won't mess with them. The NPCs of the world will. And it's all based on reactions. I'm not just going to do it because I feel like being a jerk. Basically, okay, good example in the B2 module. So let's say your party just got back from the Caves of Chaos, and they go to the inn, and one of the party members, maybe the wizard, he's buying everybody drinks. And he has this big bag of coins sitting on the table, and he's paying for all the food and all the drinks, and they're all bragging about all the orcs they killed. And the thief in the inn is taking this all in, just watching them all night long. Goes, okay, that's the guy with the money. And so he's a target. The player set himself up as a target. So then the thief's going to try. So he's going to wait till like 3 a.m. He's going to try to climb that wall into the window, across the floor, and grab that pouch. And so I want to know exactly what they did to that window or the door, that there's a lock, their armor, where they're putting the treasure. And so that way I can make a bunch of rolls behind the screen. Okay, he made that. Okay, he made that. Okay, okay, he made that. Okay, around your neck. Okay, he made that roll. And so I go through all the motions and you know, what the thief would do. And I try to be realistic about it, what the thief would do. He's not going to metagame. So if the players trick the potential thief, it's probably going to work. And so this will set them up in the game for later too, like that assassin. So the assassination only works under certain circumstances, and hopefully the players never get in that situation. And hopefully they catch sight of him before he finally gets his mark. Hopefully, maybe we'll see.
Yes.
You have to wing it. Now, hopefully the players are smart enough, you know. So same thing with Lareth and the temple. So Senshok is a 13th level wizard. Hedrak, he's a 9th level cleric, and they got a whole bunch of people under them. A lot of powerful NPCs. The Falrinth, I think he's a 13th level wizard or something, and he's got a Quasit familiar. They can summon demons. There's assassins there like Smigmal. There's all the bandits and brigands and pirates in Nulb, and they're all powerful, and they have a whole organization behind them, and they're working the roads, they're working the rivers, and so they got a lot of resources at their command to deal with the petty adventurers. They're a thorn in their side. So if the players get too caught up into being heroes too early in the campaign before their 5th level, they're easy targets to take out and remove. And so they have to protect themselves by not really being considered a real threat or who they are. Their name can't be on anybody's lips. They can't be very recognizable. So they have to be very careful of how they handle the moat house and all the bandits out there.
And they have to not leave any witnesses.
So the thing, something about that though. So it doesn't sound like we're going to extreme. So like the first encounter in the campaign when you hit them with bandits. So they're just regular 1st level adventurers coming down the adventure, and they're getting hit by some bandits, and they win. And a couple of the bandits get away. No, the temple ain't gonna give crap about that. They're not gonna react to that. Who gives a shit? Lareth, deal with them, or not. Larth won't even deal with them. He'll tell his sergeant, what's his face upstairs. He'll tell him to go
Yeah.
deal with them.
Yeah.
It's beneath them. They're not a real threat.
Right.
So
Right. So
you
Larth
have to
doesn't
do
seem to
something
be.
really major. Like a good example is that right here on the map, this stone, that sacred stone monastery. If they go in there and slaughter everybody and desecrate that altar and kill the high priest there or whatever, guy, I haven't keyed it yet. But if they do all that and they took out the moat house, oh yeah. If the Temple of Elemental Evil is really aware of these players, exactly who these players are and where they're hanging out at, they're going to send some forces to take them out. So they have to be really careful at that point, where if they become too successful and start taking out some of these outposts, and the real hard clues get back to the temple aren't going to sit around and do nothing. They're going to send probably their bandits leaders, their captains, their wizards.
So what I have to remind my players is that at the end of the day, you better make sure that people think it was Lareth who was responsible.
Yeah, so I've never had anybody kill Larth before. They've always ran away or get killed by Larth. That's why I made this article right here about his victory speech. So I have a bunch of dialogue of Larth, what he says to them. During combat, he says stuff to him. During casting his spells, he just says stuff to him.
I don't think Lareth is stupid enough to stick around. If Lareth suffers enough critical defeats.
Yeah. But I didn't make any dialogue of him making friends with him. I didn't do that. I should.
No, so again, to me, it was not about making friends. I thought to myself, you're the evil lord and you don't trust these guys and you're convinced they're probably not on your side, but you have another problem.
Well, I don't mean friends, but
but to me, it's like he's not allying with them. It's not that he believes they're actually working for him. It's not like he trusts them. He doesn't trust anybody.
Yeah.
But like if somebody walked into your office and said, "Hey, I can solve a problem for you," and there's plausible deniability, the only people who know that he's working for them is Lareth and the sergeant.
Actually, doesn't it say in the Moat House, the T1 module, that if Lareth does recruit the players, he'll wait for them to go to sleep and then kill them? I think it says that in the module. I'm trying to find that.
I believe
here.
So. I believe so. I'd have to check it up. I'm gonna check. Now you got me looking.
Yeah, I'm starting to remember this stuff, and I don't think I added that here.
No.
Yeah, I focused on him winning. I didn't focus on the players surrendering to him and becoming tools.
They don't surrender to him. That's the important point. They don't surrender to him. They offer to join his organization.
Right. And then the module says if they do that, they wait for them to go to sleep, and he finds it all amusing, I guess, and then he kills them. It's not on my page. I didn't put that in here. I should. It's in the module. Anyway, James said CNC Assassin does have an insta-kill attack.
All right, he is not averse to gaining new recruits of all sorts and will gladly accept adventures into the ranks, though he will test and try them continuously.
Yep.
Those who arouse suspicion will be quietly murdered in their sleep.
Suspicion, got it. Okay, that's it.
Right, so it's consistent with what the thing says. Right now, they're useful.
Okay. Well,
right?
James joined our YouTube here. He said this Castles and Crusades assassin does have an insta-kill attack upon a successful sneak attack. And then Hearn said, in my experience, the party is its own worst enemy by their own actions bringing trouble to them. That's the truth.
Yep. So yeah, so the encounter was like intense. Like everybody, there was almost a total party kill. The thing that had it going for them was they had killed enough of the bandit ragers, and Thaslor was all about the power and the evil, but also likes to be alive.
I like to be alive.
Right. Right. I mean, like these evil guys, it's not like they want to die. I mean, they want to accumulate power while they're living. Like this is one of the things about like the powerful leaders of cult fanatic organizations are the ones who don't want to die. It's the minions that seem to have a mania for willing to do ridiculous things, which is kind of consistent, right? Anybody who's made it anybody who's made it to a level of power figures that the time for him to die in random encounters has gone away. That's for his minions, not for him, right?
True,
and so
true.
and they don't have any loyalty to their bosses or to their organization.
Just fear.
Just fear. And dying is more frightening than the loyal. They are not. They don't. And they have a temporal notion of fear, right? Like,
well,
I'm more afraid of dying right now from you, and I'm happy to betray you 30 seconds later when I'm no longer afraid of that.
Well, the difference, Larth is a little different. So
yeah,
Larth
no, I'm just saying. No, this is not about Larth. This is about Thalsor and like folks like him. Larth is much
Larth uses more than fear. He has 18 charisma, and he has promise of success, power, loot.
Yeah, no. Larth is in a different league of bad guy.
Yeah,
which is what I didn't like about how he's presented. But right, he should be a different league of bad guy. Like, by the time the guys get there, they should have figured out that Larth has used them, and that not only have they been used, but they've actually helped the Temple of Elemental Evil's most powerful lieutenant to become more powerful. Right? That what I want them to do is, by choosing to work for Larth, they've actually managed to help the wrong side. Which means they have a burning desire to deal with him. Right?
Oh, I found it.
What?
This. Okay, where's that quest at? What's that quest called again?
It's called hold on, let me bring it up again.
The Cursed Pipe?
No. It's sorry, hold on.
I like that quest.
Well, that's a good quest too, but the one we're talking about is Earth Elemental Side Quest.
Where is it?
It's on, if you want to know, it's on page 19.
What? Oh. Sheernob. You're Sheernob? Oh, no, you're talking about Osberg.
No, Sheernob. Earth Elemental Side Quest in Sheernob.
Oh,
page 19. It's
not page 19, actually. You're looking at a PDF page.
Yeah, sorry. PDF page 19. Sorry. What?
Trying to find it. Oh, there it is.
Is it on page 19? Hold on.
I found it. It's the fonts. The fonts messed me up. It's number 20, page 21.
Yeah, page 20, 21. Yeah, it's on page...
Yeah, so the guy that helps me edit these things, like the Village of Nolb, he did a really good job helping me edit Village of Nolb. No complaints yet so far, except for that one girl's name. He didn't help me edit this one. Anyway, he's the editor for Greyhawk Zine, and he wrote for Living Greyhawk and Dragon Magazine. So he's really great help. But he doesn't want his name credited on anything on the DM's Guild. So I can't put his name on the module.
All right. Well, whoever he is, thank you for your support. I did buy the module, by the way, so, you know.
So these are the meddling fools who dare tread upon the sacred ground of the Earth Mother.
Yes.
Yes, we did. Heroes.
Yes, and so the party found itself. There was like they at the very end of it, they're kind of like, you know, when you added up all the experience points they had accumulated, they made it to the 4th level. I was like, congratulations, you made it to the 4th level. And one of them said, this was well deserved.
Phase 4.
Right. So anyway, so I just wanted to say, like, it's a great encounter, and it's one that if you just kind of go in mindlessly and try to charge and fight, you're going to die.
Yeah, and there's the picture right there of an Earth Raider, and there's the stat blocks for him.
Yeah, you will die. Like there is like.
Oh, shoot.
The air. What?
10 hit dice. The leader is 10 die 8.
Who to Thalsor?
The bandit leader, yeah. And the Black Earth Raider is 6 die 8, 6th level.
Yeah. So yeah, these are not easy combat encounters for characters under 5th level.
I should have mentioned this before, but these stat blocks are just suggestions. You should curtail them for your campaign. Now, the base bandit is a base bandit stat block for any edition. They're 1st level, 0 level, whatever.
Look. I'm glad I didn't do it.
Okay.
I had to do some fudging when I realized how ridiculous the encounter was.
Yeah, it
But
is. That's too much.
but I didn't pull too many punches, and like the group was kind of like, shit, we have to decide who lives and who dies, right?
They're all 3rd level
Yeah.
with the Earth Elemental.
No, there's no earth elemental. There's no earth elemental in this.
I thought you said there. I thought there was.
No, there's a stone. There's a fragment of a stone golem.
That's right, the fragment. So he's
So it's
left.
not a full. It's not a full stone golem.
Fragment. Where is he? Elemental under E.
No, a stone golem. A stone golem.
Earth method. There's an Earth.
Those aren't really. They're not very dangerous.
Oh well. Yeah. Anyway, it's been a while since I've seen this module.
No, it's So it's a fragment of a stone golem, 4 black earth raiders, 2 mephits, and the cleric.
Oh, okay, the methods. Got it.
Right, and so the key to their success was that they were able to achieve surprise because of their high stealth, and they got lucky on some initial die rolls. Right.
Okay, that's cool.
Right?
Yeah,
And
well, you
so-
are running 5th edition, so it's not so critical. If you're running CNC or 1st edition, you definitely don't want that leader to be 9th level.
No.
So,
Yeah.
I had one person complain about the 5th edition stat blocks, but it's required. I have no choice. My hands are tied. If I'm going to sell,
Hey, look, as a 5th
DM
edition
skills.
fan, I was a 5th edition fan. I think they're fine. By the way, if you ever, I found a really good translation tool for them.
Well, what I was looking up was something else. So let me show you guys something.
I don't know whether
I keep telling you guys about this on the Discord channel, but nobody listens. So I'm going to show it to you.
All right.
You guys need to listen more.
No.
Where did it go? Here it is. Okay, so this is the module from Wizards of the Coast. It's a 5th edition module. And basically, it's a horrible version of Temple of Elemental Evil in Forgotten Realms. But there's some really good ideas. And I got these ideas I'm using in this campaign, which is those 4 elementals cult outposts. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of them. So the Earth.
What is it
the Earth
called?
one. Where's the Earth one? Cult of the Black Earth. I got all my spells from here, by the way, too. That's where I got those spells. Those
Okay.
elemental spells that you see that are customized. I got it from this module, and I rewrote them for
What's that module called?
Greyhawk. Everything I get from here has to be rewritten for Greyhawk. You can't just pull it from here. Things have to be adjusted.
What's the name of that module?
Princes of the Apocalypse.
That's it, right? Yeah.
There it is. Temple of the Black Earth. Okay, so this is the temple. Where's the picture at? Anyway, that's the temple. And so it's keyed. B1, B2, the gates, B3, guard rooms, a hall. There's a burrow there as quarters. There's the dungeon. So we can use this map, and we can use most of this key. It has to be rewritten, and a lot of things has to be transferred to like Greyhawk lore, and Greyhawk type characters.
What is this? The Keep of the Borderlands?
No, I'm talking about Princes of the Apocalypse, the module I'm using.
Okay.
As a source of information for those other outposts. And so this is that abandoned monastery. So this is beneath the monastery. This dungeon map you're looking at, it's underneath the top level. I'm trying to find it, the map for the top level.
Oh, so you're thinking of using that as the Temple of the Black Earth, the monastery?
Yeah. And there's the end. That's the end encounter at the bottom there.
Oh, all right. Well, so you now told me how I'm going to run that.
I told you already. This is the fire temple.
No, hold on. You did, and there's a lot of content I have to absorb.
I'm trying to find
Sometimes you have to tell me twice.
Oh, this is really slow.
Anyway, hey,
it's
8 o'clock.
This module is 258 pages, so there's a lot to go through. But there is an upper level map too, and a lower level map. The upper level map is definitely more usable in this campaign versus the lower level map.
Right. Hey, David, right?
Yes.
David. All right. Hey, I'm sorry, man. It's 8 o'clock, and as I said, I have to go off and be a pumpkin. It was great chatting with you today.
Yes, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I'd like to hear about your campaign. And next Sunday, if you have another update, I'd like to hear about it too.
Let's see. All right, guys, have a good evening. Take
All
care.
right, good night there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and talk to these guys. I got some questions here. Good opportunity, beef them up. So Hearn the Hunter. Where are we at? So this is why after they prove effective and useful in Hamlet, I will send the party to investigate the keep on the borderlands about rumors of the remnants of the Temple of Elemental Evil operating there, the Caves of Chaos. So I know, Hearn, you decided to run the Temple of Elemental Evil module with the Keep on the Borderlands module in Greyhawk in this area. I think you said you replaced Hamlet with the Keep. So that's what you're doing in your campaign, which is interesting. And then James said, you got to watch the amount of hit points in the first edition or Castles to Crusades. Definitely. Yeah, these stat blocks are required for it to be sold on, DM's Guild. I have to submit this kind of stat block. And I could have added, I don't know if they'll let me, but I could have added another stat block for the same character in first edition terms, but it definitely would have used up a lot more space and would have been practically impossible to fit one character per page. And that's my goal for quick reference. Everything has to be on a page or a 2-page spread. So it's easy reference. So you're not flipping pages looking for something on one topic, one NPC, one location. And that's the best way to do it. Wizards of the Coast is not good at doing that, as you can see right here on screen. This is a block of text with no formatting at all. Just 2 columns of ongoing. It's a mess. But anyway, we don't need to see that anymore. So let me go ahead and tell you guys what I did. So what I did this week, besides publish the Temple of Elemental Evil, the Village of Nob campaign source book on the DM's Guild, I released it today, and I've already sold like 3 or 4 dozen modules already. I can't believe how popular it is. I made some more content. So the content I made was what was it? Gotta shift gears here. It was I'll just check my list. That's the best way. Oh, I'm making a song too, by the way. I don't know if you guys checked out my music that I produced over the last 5 years. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Let me refresh my list here. Saskatoon, Waterside. Oh, found it. Okay, I'm gonna bring this up. This is a big one. I've been talking about this for a while. We finally got one of them done. So Halagant from Australia, he helped me write this. He wrote all the Celine stuff in the past for Living Greyhawk, and he wrote quite a few things for Living Greyhawk in the past. And he's extending all that. And I asked him, I said, we don't have enough information about the 4 clans of elves in the Gnarly Forest. There's a big hole in the middle of the Gnarly Forest. And if you look at the map right here, you'll see that we talked about this last stream, that Clan Meldarin, he's really good at pronouncing those elven names. Clan Felafel and Clan Lanafel. And up here is Clan Serindel. Anyway, there's not much information, only a paragraph of information on each one of those in Living Greyhawk. And it's not very useful for a Dungeon Master to run his open world campaign with so little information. And the reason it's important is because now, since this is an open world campaign, and a lot of Dungeon Masters are running their campaign from the Wild Coast, going to Hamlet. I start mine in the city of Verbobonc. Others start theirs in Divers, and they're making their way to Hamlet and Nob. So if you're running, and also another good reason why we should extend into the Wild Coast is if you want to run the Slaver series, which is happening at the same time. And so they're collaborating with the Second Rising of the Temple of Elemental Evil. And so there's a lot of slave trade going back and forth, supplying the Temple of Slaves. So they're taking the Forest Road, and this road down here called the Wild Road is what he called it. I haven't labeled it yet. And so they're going, so the merchants and the slavers are going back and forth along these roads to supply the Temple of Elemental Evil. So there's a lot of action going on there. Also along the rivers of the pirate ships. And so if the players are starting the Wild Coast, also they're going to be going back and forth a lot too. And they're going past this big hole in the middle of the map of not a lot of information. And you're going through the lands of the clans. So I need to know specifically, and so do any dungeon master, how those clans react, how they treat merchants along those merchant roads, and bandits and brigands and their raids, and the players. What kind of forces they bring to bear, what kind of leaders they have, their organization, the politics, all that stuff, and some side quests too. So I'm proud to announce this bottom one here, which is the closest to Celine, is done. Well, almost done. So I created an icon, a herald for their clan. And so you recognize that in their armor or something, or a cloak. You can see that symbol there. And your player character elf can be from here too, which is another important reason. Another place for a player elf can be from. So he came up with this history, the geography of Oakvein, the living fortress, which is a big, great tree. On the right-hand side is the notable figures, all the leaders, all the economics and government systems and neighboring nations and all that stuff that you need to know. The territory, what territory there is, how many live there, the demographics, and also the society and culture and how that clan reacts, how they act, and the government, how they rule by the wise, their religion, which is Sehanang, which I think it's more than that, but that's what he said, and the relationships with all these different factions, mounted borderers, druids of the gnarly rangers, and Celine. The economic system, kind of outlined that. This economic system is both internal and external, two different types, who they deal with. And then there's a summary for dungeon masters out there. And then we have the current concerns. This is the most important part right here, this last chapter. This one tells you everything you need to know about what's happening now in the campaign, what they're doing. There's a rising mistrust towards the usual foes, like orc tribes and goblin marauders, but also to human strangers too. So it's all outlined here. And here's the important details you need to know about the threat in this area. This area is called the Wild Verge. The Wild Verge is an area on the border of Welkwood and the Gnarly Forest. It's like a little section of the forest with its own name. And the Gnarly Forest article does give you that map of where these zones are. And there's a Gnarly Ranger Knight assigned to each one of them. And then they are outlined with their own stat blocks too. So they have their foes. They're unaware of the second rising of the Temple of Elemental Evil, by the way. That's important. On the right-hand side is some side quests. I always throw those in case you need it. Like I got 4 plots here that you could use if you need that. And then also what I did, there's the map on the right there. That's the zoned map of the Gnarly Forest. And also I created one NPC, and it's this one, the main leader. And I need to create articles for the rest of the NPCs, but I put a stop to this because I really needed to get the Village of Nulb done and released today. So I'll probably go back to this tomorrow and create the rest of the NPCs here, because these NPCs are important not only to encounter them in the campaign, but also and give you quests and follow up on quest and information and lore. But they could be like the player character's master of a wizard or a ranger or something, who trained them. So the elder is 713 years old. Everything you need to know: background, personality, magic, specialization, political influences, the family, the lineage, and his current concerns. It's all right here. On the right is his details. And then on the bottom right-hand corner is the stat block. So he's a 10th level sorcerer and a 13th level cleric of Sahanin. Now, that's a 5e stat block. I'm starting to do these in 5e because I got to convert them anyway when I create the modules. But at least you know what level he is. So he's done. So that's what I did earlier in the week before I started hitting the Village of Nulb hard, because I wanted to get that released this weekend. All right. So on our YouTube chat, we got James said later. He said, I think I have seen that you have a first edition stat block and the online stuff. Yeah. When I started doing the online stuff, I started 7 years ago. Originally, it was all first edition Castles of Crusades versions. Only lately, within the last 6 months, that the DMs Guild allowed us to publish Greyhawk material on their website that I started using 5e stat blocks. So if I see a 1e stat block on some of these older articles, I'll leave them there. And Vapor Missile said, hello, hi, welcome to our live chat. This is a live stream that we doing a recap of what we did all week, which includes the release today of the new Village of Hamlet module, and this article, the leader of this elf clan in the Gnarly Forest, and this clan right here. So Holligant, hopefully, I think he works weekends. So hopefully Monday he'll get the next clan. So the next clan I'm hoping he does is Clan Felafel. Because if you take this road past Oakvane to the Wild Coast to Hamlet, you're going to have to pass between both clans to get there. And so that'll take quite a bit, affect the campaign quite a bit, depending what the Dungeon Master does with it, especially when it comes to raids. Because you got a bunch of brigands and bandit gangs holed up in Nulb as a base of operations, raiding up and down these roads in the Gnarly Forest and the Viscounty of Verbobonc. And so, as a Dungeon Master, half of your wandering encounters should be bandits, brigands, pirates. That way, it'll move the campaign along, give the players more clues of what's going on, like peeling back the layers of the onion to find out of all the activities of the Temple of Elemental Evil on their second rising. All right, so that's pretty much caught up. So about next week, I'm going to continue these clans. I got to finish Twilight Falls. I got 13 locations done, and I got to get that map. Yeah, I need to get the map done for Twilight Falls. I started creating my own objects now. I draw my own buildings because I used to purchase them from another Patreon, but I like mine better. Hearn said, I am looking forward to encounter charts for the Hamlet's Inn. Any chance including that? That's right. You wanted encounter chart at the inn of the Welcome Wents. And I went ahead instead, thought, oh yeah, I need that for Nulb. So I created an encounter chart for both taverns in Nulb and the streets of Nulb. So it's 3 encounter charts that I added to today's module, and I reloaded the module back up to DM's Guild. So you should get an email if you bought it of an update saying that I uploaded the newest version with this additional charts and one edit that I fixed, which is a minor edit. So you guys can get that. I have encounter charts for Hamlet Inn. I wonder if I have it here. I might. Let's see. I know it's on my private site. The Hamlet campaign. So let's go look at Hamlet side quests. Okay, I don't need to look at that. I need to go to the Village of Hamlet. And in the Village of Hamlet is these on the bar. There's usually these extra links on the sidebar. Okay, side quest. That's that one. And then these are the locations, like 33 of them. These are the plots. Campaign guide, journey, prelude, summons to the Council of Hamlet. So after the players are successful with the Moat House, that article talks about how the Council of Hamlet will summon the players to talk to them about Nulb. I had another video about that already. See, the Return of the Temple, Hadrick's Gambit, and Laura's Insurgency. There's a whole article about that. Okay, I know where I need to go. I need to go to Inn of the Welcome Wench. I think that's location 6. Where is it? 7. Okay, so I have more articles here in Inn of the Welcome Wench. Yeah, that piece of art on the right, I commissioned that like, I don't know, 7 years ago. I paid somebody to make that for me. And then I created that myself. Next one down below. Gindagoot. Poor meals, good meals. In the key. Yeah. Spoilers. I have a chart of characters that are there. And I have the key. I have menus, of course, you can print up. You can get them on the Patreon, too. Higher resolution ones you can print up. There's some battle maps for you. I didn't do it. Yep, that's just the key. That's the key to all the rooms in the Hamlet and in the Inn of the Welcome Winds. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. On my private site, I do have a list, but I'm going to have to update that list because it has the old names from another DM. So I'll have to go through every name of the whole village and replace the names on that list with the correct names. So I can do that. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you like it. I try to create a menu for every inn in the game, in the campaign. And I realized that I did not create any menus for any of the inns in the city of Verbobonc. So that's, speaking of which, I got some requests to create a module for the city of Verbobonc. Just thinking about it is giving me anxiety. You know how hard it was to make the village of Nolb? Ostwerk was hard. It took me forever. Nolb took me even longer. That was so big. It's 146 pages. It was crazy. I was doing 6-hour days, 7 days a week, cranking that out. And so the city of Verbobonc, that thing is massive. So Nolb is 144 pages. City of Verbobonc probably at least 250 pages, I guess. I wonder if my computer can even handle it. I wonder how big that file would be. Because you know how I am. I put a piece of artwork on every page. That takes up a lot of space. Yeah, anyway, I guess I'll do that next. I said I could do Twilight Falls too. This Twilight Falls is really close. Just like Sheer Knob, it's 10 miles away. And that's on the way to Divers. Twilight Falls is important if your campaign starts in Divers. It's on the way. Back and forth through Twilight Falls. The bandits, brigands have spies there. So they spy on merchant caravans going back and forth and report to Nolb. And then they hit them. So that's a big deal. Really big deal. So I think Twilight Falls would be a really... And they also have their own quests and their own politics and things that are happening there too. But yeah, City of Verbobonc could probably be more important, I think. Bigger. That'd be a big one. Now, I probably should do a module for each one of these. Penwick, Etterbuck, Nibs Rest. I didn't do D-Suits Forward yet. I only have the outline. I wish somebody would help me do that one. And because Far Downs is down here. Far Downs is the location of that module series where the gnomes are attacking Sir Galen's lands. So that's kind of part of that quest series. Oh, so we're talking about locations. What's more important than that? The adventures. The Noble Ambition starts in Verbobonc and gets you to here. Ancient Soul Ruins. That dungeon's done. It's ready to go. Even the map. And then the Quest of Beauty. Huge, epic arc of a campaign quest. That, that's on its way to Selene to get stolen. That module needs to be done. The other 3 series module for Sheer Knob with these giants right here, that giant clan, White Rock clan, and the orcs that they work with, they're hitting Sheer Knob regularly, like weekly. They need help. And that's a 3-part series. And so I need to rewrite those modules for this campaign. You gotta remember, those modules were written for 9. Can't even think. I'm so tired. 576 common year, 594 common year. So this campaign is 576 common year, but all the Living Greyhawks 594 common year. But I'm using those modules and locations for this campaign. I'm using those modules and locations for the Temple of Elemental Evil campaign. That's a big difference. The Temple of Elemental Evil campaign is not happening in the Living Greyhawk time. It's done in the past. So and Living Greyhawk isn't necessarily official canon. And it can't be because all the modules are so scattered and different various levels of quality and not consistent at all. And so you really have to, I spent 7 years analyzing them, trying to gain as much information from them to be usable for this campaign. It's a lot of work. And we talk about that stuff in a Three Orcs Discord channel too, what people think about it. Let's see. So Hearn said, when is a good time level to bring the party into the Gift of Beauty? Well, in my campaign, I start them in City of Verbobonc, and I hit them with 3 modules at the same time. I hit them with Noble Ambitions, where Lady Eleanor Osbury hires the adventurers to recover the lost treasures of Osbury in the Ancient Soul dungeon here. At the same time, all the political problems with the gnomes were happening in the city. There's riots, and a lot of politics and speeches and things like that are happening. And the players are witnessing this. Also, at the same time, the rumors about the Gift of Beauty's gone. So, if a cleric in the group is with a church there, there's a lot of churches there. The bishops are there, the leaders of these church organizations, like St. Cuthbert. So let's say a player is playing St. Cuthbert, the bishop might call upon this first level cleric to go investigate. I hear Lady Eleanor is recruiting. I want to know what she wants, because nobody knows. She's keeping a secret. Everybody in the city wants to know what she wants these adventurers for. So all the bigwigs are sending their minions to apply for this job. Also, the Gift of Beauty, they're requesting that they give them a mission. Go down there, find out what happened to it, and try to recover it. Same thing with the Silver Consortium, or any wizard master will send his apprentice on this mission. Same thing with the Paladin. The bishop of that church will bequest that Paladin to go after the Gift of Beauty at first level. By the time they get down there and get through all this stuff, like the moat house and stuff, they're going to be 3rd level. That's what happened to my group. By the time my group finally got to Ostfirk, first they went to Ancient Soul Ruins. They got to 2nd level. Then they hit the moat house. They got to 3rd level by the time they got past Sheernab. And now they're in Ostfirk, chasing around these orcs. or band of orcs of 500 orcs marauding the area. And the Knoll Fort. The players are going crazy. So they're 3rd level by the time they're done. I think one guy's 4th level. Yeah, he made 4th level. But I give out experience points piecemeal, the traditional way. All right. Any other questions while you guys have me on here? Because I think we pretty much covered everything I wanted to do this week on this live stream. Let me know if you have any questions, and we can go from there. If you have any requests in the campaign for your campaign, let me know, and I'll take that into consideration on what needs to be worked on. Because I did that already for one Dungeon Master for Littleborough. I created Littleborough, like 4 locations there for him for his campaign, because his group is going through there. His group is traveling through Littleborough, and he needed that. And I even gave him a side quest too, if he needed them. I think he might have used one. So yeah, I got Mole's done. So what needs to be done is Emerdy, Eglath, Oakham. Taymouth needs to be done. Only the outline is done. I'll show you. See, the first page of Taymouth is done. And I think I have a map too. Let's take a look. Yeah, I have a map. This was done by Heligant. His name is Damon Edwards, a.k.a. Heligant. He made that map. And what I did is I wrote all this out. I expanded what he gave me, and I wrote all this out. But I didn't create separate articles for each location yet with NPCs. I didn't give it the 3 orcs treatment yet. I'm waiting for him to help me do that. If people would help me do that with some of these locations, they'll get done faster. We can spread out faster this campaign, this project, and extend it further out faster to the Wild Coast, I'm hoping. All right. Well, I think that's all the questions for tonight. Let's go ahead and wrap this up here. Let's see. I'm going to stop recording and go here. All right. Well, thank you for joining the Three Orcs live stream. This is David, and I appreciate everybody that came here. We had a guest. His name is Costadis, and he shared with us his campaign update report, which is really interesting. He's running his campaign a little bit differently than most people do, and I find it really interesting. And he's using the side quests that I have with the modules I have out there and this website to great effect. Well, I'll look forward to talking to you guys again next week with another update on what's going on with the campaign. And I hope to see you guys all either on my Patreon or the Three Orcs Discord channel. You're welcome to join us and talk about this. We talk about it every day and collaborate and work on this project. Well, thank you guys. You guys have a good week, and I hope your players enjoy your campaign as much as mine have. Good night. Doop, doop.